So bonjour, hi everyone, and welcome to this presentation that's about how taking ownership and selling your ideas will help you move your career forward. And I could have named this something completely different, like an honest discussion about career and how to leave your mark with your direct reports, your managers, your teammates, your clients, but that would have been a very long title. So I'm Ivana, and I currently work at Ozedea. We're a tech firm based here in Montreal, doing web apps, mobile apps, experimental programming, and I work in marketing and talent management. So I'm not in a technical role per se, but I work daily with 23 programmers and UX UI designers, and I've been in the tech industry for almost 4 years now. So my objective for the next 30 minutes is really to inspire you, to challenge your thinking, and to start a conversation on your career. And my favorite part of any talk I do or any training I give is to ignite action. So what is this session about? The title is maybe a bit vague and you're wondering, maybe you know where I'm going to go, maybe you don't. But what I want to talk about is why ownership is important and how to showcase it. And then we're going to talk a little bit about tips to selling your ideas internally and why that is important. So I'm going to be honest and I'm going to open up to you with some personal examples. But keep in mind that a career takes a lifetime to build, and we only have 30 minutes to talk about it. So come and see me after. I'm going to leave my contact information. So I'm always open to discuss and chat with different people about different opportunities, so feel free to do that. So as I was preparing for this talk, I found my 4th grade yearbook. Our teacher did that for us, so we have a memory of kind of what we want, who we are now, and what we want to become. And mine said, when I grow up, I'm going to be a lawyer, a doctor, or a detective. Now, I wasn't using I hope to be or I wish to be. I was so convinced that that's what I was going to do. And it amazed me how a child thinks. I thought I could win a Nobel Prize in science or be an Olympic gold medalist, even though I didn't practice any sports at the time. And you know, it wasn't hard to imagine that one day I'll own my company or that I would be top in any field possible. But fast forward a couple of years, I'm 23, I go through a really intense selective process, and I get a job at Procter & Gamble. It's one of the world's largest consumer packaged good companies, with brands you've probably heard of, like Pantene, Tide, Oral-B, and Pampers. So that childhood mindset disappeared. I went from feeling I could do anything to being insecure. And the first 9 months on the job, I was wondering, how will I survive before I get fired? And they realized that I'm not good enough. Now, every other new hire seemed to know what they were doing. They were so confident, and I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't know what to do to be successful. But I could have given up, I could have left, I could have quit, I could have, cried and faked it and hoped it would go well. But I took action, and I'm not going to share all of it now, but that's what I want to share in this presentation with you. 8 years of observation, of learning, of talking to people, and what it means to be successful. So just before we go into it, a side note, maybe you want to be an entrepreneur, a CEO, a leader, and that's great, but maybe you don't, and that's okay too. It doesn't mean you lack drive and that you're not ambitious. There's 2 paths in career, and that's why I think moving your career forward is for everyone. You can go up the leadership ladder and, become a CEO, but you can also move your career forward by choosing the projects you want to work on, by choosing the type of company you want to work for, and choosing the type of role you want to do. Maybe you want to experiment on different roles. I know I do. I work on a daily basis in marketing, HR, finance, and I touch base different things. And it's most importantly, choosing the opportunities that are meaningful for you. That's what moving your career forward means. So I'm going to talk a lot about ownership. Now, ownership, it doesn't mean that, you own a company or that you own shares in a company. It means showcasing every day in your work, in the type of projects you do, in your interactions, showcasing ownership. And that's going to showcase your value, your commitment, and your leadership. So how do you do that? So one thing I've always observed on true owners is that they thrive on feedback. They're going to learn from it, they're going to ask for it, they can't get enough of it. And it doesn't matter if you just started your career or you've been doing it for 40 years, feedback is a gift. And it's not only me. So Sheryl Sandberg, a very powerful woman in tech and the Facebook COO, when asked what is the number one thing that she looks for people that can grow within the company, she said, someone who takes feedback well. Because people who can take feedback well are people who can learn and grow. And that has helped me immensely in my career. I'll share one example to the insecure 23-year-old. So when I started the company I worked for, everything was in a written culture. No PowerPoint presentation. All your ideas, all proposals, or recommendations had to be done in one written page. And when I took my first experience at it, it was a disaster. My manager came back to me, and the page was filled with red comments. And he said, Ivana, you're behind your peers on this one, and you're really going to have to work hard. Now, I could have disagreed. I could have said, I really like what I wrote. It's good. Why aren't you happy? Or I could have been angry. It was harsh feedback, but I took it to the little insecure me. It was finally an action I could take and something I could do to get better. So if I tried today to get better at that, at least tomorrow I'll be closer to getting back on track. The tricky thing about feedback, though, is that it's emotional. So, you love it when it's positive. We all feel driven by it and excited. But when it's asking us to change, there's some resistance. It's natural. Maybe you don't agree with it. Think maybe the person that's delivering you the feedback, you don't like it. Think about your parents. Like, how annoying was it when they would tell you, to change something? And maybe you're not in the right mood. You're tired or you had a bad day. But it doesn't matter. Constructive feedback is there to make you better. And one great book recommendation, thanks for the feedback, goes into the feedback psychology and helps you get better at that. So that's one element that I want to keep with. And just to go back to my story with the business writing, I really worked hard on it. I got help, and I got a lot of feedback on it. And 2 years later, I was giving the business writing training to new hires. So you can go from being behind the pack to being in the top of the pack by taking good feedback. The next thing, the second most important one to be a true owner is following through. They don't just plan, they act, and they drive results. And I observe this in people who make it very far in companies. Former American Express CEO said, many people don't focus enough on execution. If you make a commitment to get something done, you need to follow through on that commitment. So how do you follow through? Think about taking action, keeping your word, showing integrity and reliability. And I think entrepreneurs are a great example of following through. I think of Martin, our CEO, and he's really good. As soon as he sees an opportunity or hears the feedback from client or employee, he's going to act and he's going to drive results. So we can learn a lot from entrepreneurs on following through. Other people we can learn from is top salespeople. They're extremely good at following through. And you can say, yeah, well, there's a lot of stake for them. Their clients' happiness, they get bonuses, their reputation. But in any type of job, if you follow through, you'll get noticed and you'll be recognized for it. So I recommend to do that. The third one is taking initiative. It means doing more than your job description. So start by leading an internal initiative. Maybe participate in a special project your team has and contribute to the team culture. Don't wait to be told what to do. It doesn't mean you're going to work more. It means you're going to work better and you're going to prioritize and work on things that are important for the company and for you. And at Ozedea, we do this really extremely well. We have a flat structure. There are no managers. So people really need to take initiative to move things forward. And if we didn't have that, the company wouldn't get better and the employees wouldn't feel valued. So that's a great opportunity. 2 years ago, 2 employees came to us and said, the values we have are boring, they're not representative of who we are, and they're generic. So they sat down, brainstormed, and came up with 5 great values everyone on the team's proud of, and sometimes we quote them all the time, and so it's really good. If we didn't have people taking initiative, we would never do our programming school, where we help kids from Saint-Henri neighborhood get into technology jobs by doing programming and design. And if we didn't have the initiative, there wouldn't be open source projects like Need for React that we do, or NoDoc. So again, this is not just about you, but it's about taking the initiative to drive you further and doing something more than just what you were hired for. So how do you take initiative? Think about opportunity. So look out for opportunities to get involved and those that can help you grow. And maybe they're not your dream opportunities, but always think, what can I learn from it and how can I grow? You know, and then also think about shifting your mindset. Think as a team member, not as an employee. So every success you're going to have, every achievement the company's going to have is going to be yours too. And that's how you're going to showcase dedication. That is how you will be able to contribute to the team and give the effort you need. So far it all seemed a little bit individualistic, or like how to drive your own success, but great owners are team players. So those who are only thinking about themselves, they might outpace you in the short run. So they'll be maybe the first promoted. Good for them. But in the long run, team players win, they lead, and they also go further in life. So what does it mean to be a team player? To me personally, it's about being compassionate, about being reliable, and committed. When I was working on the Oral-B business in Canada, I had to work very closely with the US team. And a lot of my colleagues saw a distinction between US and Canada, but we really depended on them. And I really wanted to be part of that bigger North American team. Even all my interactions with them were by phone, and I wasn't sitting in the room with them. But I was always flexible, and I wanted to be helpful, but I was also careful of the requests I was making to them and making sure they were realistic and that I understood their reality. And when I left the company, I got a really sweet note that I look up to now when I'm not feeling good from a product supply teammate of mine who said, "You've been a wonderful partner, and your collaborative style has always compelled me to go the extra mile and do what I can to support your business." Now that's power of teamwork, where people want to go the extra mile to help you. The other thing that's very important about a good team player is that you're there to support your team and make them feel appreciated. I'll always think of my colleague Brad. Every single weekly team meeting, he would have some praise for someone on the team. And it's not always easy, to find like what somebody did good and how you're thankful, but it's really important. And even for his direct reports, he'd always put them forward and showcase how they were good and what they did was very helpful. So in the end, like the guy moved up in the company and he's very well respected, and I'm not surprised. We at OZDA, we installed a praise opportunities so people can praise each other informally, through Slack, in person. So we really want to build that team spirit by having colleagues thank each other and respect each other and appreciate each other. And the last one, which is a little bit cheesy, but I really believe positive attitude gets you far. And it's not just with your team and your company. It can also be with your suppliers and your clients. It's really important to have that positive attitude. And that is what will get you kind of further in your career, according to me. The other one, it's very important, it's finding a sponsor. That is someone that is high up in the organization and that can be your ally and get you the right opportunities. Now, in big companies, there might be a lot of options about sponsors. It's still tricky to find some. If you're an entrepreneur or you're in a small company, it's still important, but maybe your circle's bigger. It's not just your company, and it's not just you. It can be outside, but it's very important. A sponsor, you have to be careful. They're not your mentor and they're not your coach. They're not there to tell you how to do your job better. They're someone in the position that can move mountains and that can pull strings for you and really get you the opportunities you need. One of my best friends, she's really good at getting sponsors. She's always worked in large companies. But when she first started, her manager was really difficult, and she wasn't getting the career opportunities she needed. So she connected with other directors outside of her division, and one of them became her sponsor. And he told her which opportunities to do, which special projects to get involved in to get visibility. And later on, he gave her the opportunity of a stellar role where she could shine. And that's what made her career and made her very valuable at the company. So if this didn't convince you why you need a sponsor, because hard work can only get you to a certain point, but especially in big companies, you need to be noticed by senior leaders. They're the ones making decisions. And I was reading about this, and women were really good at getting coaches and mentors, but studies shows that we're very less likely to have sponsors, and that could have been attributed to us not moving as far in our careers. So it's something that's very important. And how do you get a sponsor? Well, look outside your circle. Find someone you have affinities with, but seek for someone who has the power to change your career. And the other one, for me, what ownership really comes down to is showcasing your leadership. Leadership, it's not about having people working for you and being a manager. That's easy. Leadership is about the actions you take and the visions you have. And everyone at any level can showcase leadership. And there are many definitions of it. And when I got the feedback, you need to lead more or you need to showcase more leadership, I was confused. What does that mean? How do I do that? So it's not easy. But one thing that helped is this 5E leadership model that you can find online. And it has helped me. And I use it often when I coach people. So I'm going to show it to you. So it's kind of like the qualities and the actions leaders take. So executing, it's creating efficient plans and turning your ideas into reality. Good leaders deliver results. It's about enabling. You remove the barriers. You create conditions for success. Good leaders build capabilities. It's about engaging. Share your plan with the key people that are going to help it make a reality. It's about collaboration. Good leaders cannot succeed without collaborating. It's about energizing, get the people on board, and excite them. Make this their priority too. Good leaders inspire people. And it's about envisioning, having a clear vision. Good leaders are those that create future. So these things help me, and I hope they ignite you a little bit to know how to showcase those leadership ability. But by owning in the workplace, you're going to directly be driven to showcase the leadership. And the final topic for me today, to kind of close this off, is about selling internally. Now, this doesn't mean being a salesperson. I know I'm not good at selling to clients. I hate doing that. But you have to learn how to sell internally, and everyone can and should do it. Because that's what makes your ideas reality. That's what puts you in the driver's seat, and that's what leaves your mark and stamp on the organizations and communities you work in. And why is it important? Passion is extremely important, and you have to have it, but it's not enough. Think about this. I could have cool million ideas, but if I can't get people convinced to help me to bring them to life, they're a no-go. And the other thing about selling internally is about your visibility. And maybe, not everyone's going to be on board with your idea, and it might not get approved, but it will give you a chance to showcase your capabilities, the way you think, and your abilities. So you have to try it. So how do you do it? Some concrete tips here. So first off, it starts with planning ahead. Even before you have your idea, think about your reputation and how you can build it within your community and organization. Knowing your audience, it's key. Like, what are they thinking? What's their personality? How are they going to react? What are their fears? Think about what questions can come up. Like, what questions the people you're presenting to are going to ask, and be ready to answer them. And test your idea before pitching it. That's also very important. Like, maybe in your team you always have the person that says no. Well, test it with them first. Then the other important part in any selling is what's in it. What are the benefits for the business? What are the benefits for the people involved? When you present, think of them being in the mindset of saying, I can't miss this opportunity. And that's how you should present it. So you can have an idea, you could think it up, but if you don't have a plan, it's useless. So you outline a plan and help the people you're presenting visualize it and know what's coming up. The other one, it's not like an action step, but it's something to think of, is telling a story. Humans love storytelling. It's how we sell pretty much anything. So that's how you can sell your ideas too. And I'm not going to go into how to be a good storyteller, but there's a lot of trainings, a lot of readings on it. So you should definitely check it out. But to me, a good story is clear, and it speaks in the language of the people you're talking to. So if you're talking to programmers, if you're talking to managers, if you're talking to salespeople, the story might be different. And this one's my personal favorite, and if a plan doesn't have it, it's a no-go for me, is next steps. So it's okay to have a plan, but if we don't know what we're gonna do, who's gonna do it, and when it's gonna be done, it's not useful. And then finally, you know, you've done all this. People say, yes, go. Well, you have to follow up. You know, if you get a go, you follow up with updates, you follow up with results, and if your idea is a success, make it known, make it shine, sell its success, because then bringing back the loop, it's going to help you build your reputation and make the next internal sale much easier. So we're already there, ending this. So in conclusion, I really think that if you showcase ownership, no matter what your role or your level in an organization, you can move your career forward in the direction that fits your values and your dreams. And just to close it off, a little like back to the story. So when I was 10, I believed I could be anything I wanted. At 23, during my first job, you know, I thought that I'm never going to become anything. To now, at 31, I know I'm still learning and I have a lot to grow, but I know that I'll face challenges every day almost. And those challenges are going to contribute to building my personal toolkit. And they're going to keep me doing what I love and keep me from living new experiences and learning. And that's what's important for me. So thank you so much for your time. And as I said, a career takes a lifetime to build. We had a really short time. I'm going to take a few questions, one or two maybe, if we have time.
We have 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Okay, so one question then. But come and see me. I wrote my email. Feel free to write to me, connect with me on LinkedIn, and I'll be happy to continue the discussion.
Yeah. So,
it's all clear.
Really good talk.
Thank you.
I have this thing called the imposter syndrome.
Syndrome, yeah.
I'm sure I'm not the only one. So what are your advices on overcoming that?
So it's going to be a personal opinion. I also suffer from that, especially early on in my career. But I wasn't shy of saying when I didn't know something. And when you go through a selective process like the one I went through, only 20 people out of thousands of applicants got selected. So even if I don't feel like I fit, a lot of people chose me for something. Like, they can't be wrong. I've met with a lot of people. So you are there for a reason. And it's finding, maybe you don't know how to get there, but getting help and learning and getting all the feedback you can, like all the things I talked about, those are the ones that help me kind of fight feeling like I wasn't fitting there. Thanks. Thank you.